5 and in Germany 051-180-904044. Our email address is bothsides106 at live.com, and you can join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have two ears and one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. Whether the independence of the continent was declared too soon or delayed too long, I will not now enter into as an argument. My own simple opinion is that had it been 8 months earlier, it would have been much better.
Where have you been, my brown-eyed son? Where have you been, my darling young one? I've stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard day. It's gonna fall. And what did you see, my brown-eyed son? You see, my darling young one, saw a newborn baby with wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a blood branch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 takers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you hear, my brown-eyed son? What did you hear, my darling young one? I heard the sound of a thunder, it roared out a warning. I heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. I heard 100 drummers whose hands were a-blazing. I heard 10,000 whispers with nobody listening. I heard one person stop, I heard many people laughing. Heard the song of a poet who died in the gutter. Heard the sound of a clown who cried in the alley. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. Who did you meet, my brown-eyed son? Who did you meet, my darling young one? I met a young child beside a dead pony. I met a white man who walked up that door. I met a young woman whose body was burning. I met a young girl, she gave me a rainbow. I met one man who was wounded in love. I met another man who was wounded with hatred. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What do you do now, my brown-eyed son? What do you do now, my darling young one? I'm a-going back out for the rain starts a-falling. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their waters, where the home in the valley meets the damp, dirty prison, where the executioner's face is always well hidden, where the hunger is ugly, where souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it, and reflect it from the mountain so all souls can hear it. Then I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, and I know my songs well before I start singing. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. Is a falling. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. Is a falling.
2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the second day of the 7th month of 2021, the International Year of Peace and Trust, the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, and the International Year of Health and Care Workers. Put another way, it's the second day of the second month of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season, and according to the weather forecast, Jamaica is under a tropical storm watch. There's a tropical wave east of Jamaica and a low-level jet stream. And a low-level jet stream is a narrow band of fast-flowing winds in the lower level of the atmosphere, which means it will be quite palpable. We'll be able to really feel it across the... So that low-level jet stream is across the Caribbean basin. The tropical wave is expected to move across the island today. Expect windy conditions, and we did feel that today, and well, no doubt that will continue. Windy conditions across the island, and especially southern parishes today, due to the presence of that low-level jet stream. And if you haven't heard, what was Tropical Storm Elsa is now Category 1 Hurricane Elsa, which is projected to be near Jamaica Saturday night. That's tomorrow night into Sunday. During that time, the weather conditions will deteriorate. In other words, they'll get worse. The weather conditions will get worse. According to the National Hurricane Center, hurricane conditions are expected in the hurricane warning area in the Windward Islands for the next few hours. Tropical storm conditions are expected in other portions of the Windward and Leeward Islands. Hurricane conditions are expected in the hurricane warning area in Haiti tomorrow, Saturday. Tropical storm conditions are expected with hurricane conditions possible along the southern coast of the Dominican Republic and right here in Jamaica. Heavy rainfall from Elsa will move quickly across the Windward and southern Leeward Islands today, including Barbados. In fact, Barbados has already felt the impact. Outer rain bands from Hurricane Elsa will impact Puerto Rico late today into Saturday, tomorrow, and southern Hispaniola, as well as Jamaica, Saturday into Sunday. Flooding and mudslides are possible. There's an increasing risk of strong winds, storm surge, and rainfall impacts in portions of the region. We'll tell you more in a moment.
I met a young woman whose body was burned.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Irons Mechanical Services specializes in servicing and preventative maintenance. Fix it before it happens. We clean injectors, flush transmission, do alignment and general servicing. AC servicing, and computer diagnostics. Come see us first at White River Ocheria St. Anne or telephone 876-974-9173. Irons Mechanical Services Limited, your one-stop auto and car care center.
Win big this summer. Enter the Gleaner Star Luxurious Escape Competition. Win the grand prize of 2 weekends for two at an all-inclusive hotel plus $25,000 in groceries, weekly cash prizes, and more. Buy a printed copy of the Gleaner Star. Enter the serial number at the front page by texting 876-322-7967 or online at gleanerluxury.com. Competition runs from June 6 to July 10, 2021. See the Gleaner and the Star for details. Your luxurious escape awaits.
I saw 10,000 takers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard.
We were saying before the break that there is an increasing risk of strong winds, storm surge, and rainfall impacts in portions of Cuba this weekend and early next week, with impacts also in the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. Interests in these areas should monitor ELSA's progress and updates to the forecast. There's a risk of storm surge, wind, and rainfall impacts in the Florida Keys and portions of the Florida Peninsula early next week. However, the forecast uncertainty remains larger than usual due to ELSA's potential interaction with the Greater Antilles this weekend. Interests in Florida should monitor ELSA's progress and updates to the forecast. Today, the 2nd of July, is more than a month earlier than the long-term average date the first hurricane forms. Hurricane warnings have now been issued for the affected Caribbean islands and Jamaica under a tropical storm watch as well. It's Flag Day in Curacao and Salvation Army Founders Day in the USA. Hoy es viernes el 2 de julio 2021 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde. Bienvenidos.
What do you do now, my darling young?
C'est vendredi le 2 juillet 2021 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
And reflect it from the mountain so all souls can hear.
All we're saying is it's Friday, the 2nd of July, 2021, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point, this is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you would have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We thank you if you have logged on to the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Subscribers to onespotmedia.com also have access to both sides of the story in particular and Power 106 FM in general. We thank those of you who have been watching us on Facebook Live on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook in the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you'll be able to not only hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook account, no sweat. There is always YouTube. You don't need to have an account. Just open a browser on your device and type YouTube. The website will come up. If you do that now, you should see this video trending. If you're not seeing it, then in the YouTube search box, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you'll be able to watch both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. And there's more. Remember, if you, depending on your situation, you might very well wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States or the United Kingdom. If you're in the United States and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 631 359 8281. 631 359 8281. And if you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330 606 0953. 0330 606 0953. Welcome to those who are already online joining us, like Mrs. Audrey. No, not Audrey. That's not her first name. Mrs. Budai. Is it Eileen? I think it's Eileen Budai. Mrs. Budai in St. Thomas. Good afternoon to you. She says, hello, Dervan. I have disturbance on Power 106. Not hearing you clearly. It's cutting in and out and screeching sound. Please, can you repeat the weather update? Thanks so much. Please stay safe and wish that all Jamaicans take the necessary precautions. Blessings. Well, this is becoming too frequent now. The transmission problems with Power 106 FM. We have absolutely no doubt that the engineering team, the engineering department, is familiar with the problem. They know what is happening, and I'm sure they'll tell us that they're doing their best. But apparently at this stage, their best is not good enough because we've been getting complaints all morning. Some of us don't live too far from the station. And there was a time when we used to be able to pick up Power 106 FM within the corporate area in general on 106.1. We can no longer pick up Power 106 on 106.1 in the corporate area. And then when we do pick up Power 106 on 106.9, there's all kind of frying and screeching and all kinds of sounds on the radio. Also got a message from Karachi, the community of Karachi, just off Mona Road. Problems as well with Power 106 transmission. Jerome in Mandeville has been sending us voice notes from morning, not being able to hear Power 106 FM in Mandeville, Manchester. That's really bad. It's awful. It's terrible. And if people are not able to hear us, it means we're talking to ourselves. Doesn't make any sense. The essence of radio is that, first of all, people must be able to hear you. They must be able to hear you. And if they're not hearing you, you're clearly talking to yourself. So right now I'm feeling as if I'm talking to myself in a manner of speaking, except for those who are able to hear us on the frequencies that are functioning, and those watching us on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube. We're actually sick and tired of talking about this, quite frankly. We shouldn't have to do it. And it's just that we can't ignore it. Otherwise, I would have, quite frankly. But you can't. When listeners are hurting, listeners take their listenership to Power 106 FM very seriously. Very seriously. And we have been as calm as ever and as measured as ever in communicating this and sending the information to the transmission WhatsApp group. There's a group where the engineers are able to get information. They're fed with information in relation to where the station is being heard or not being heard. But apparently, I don't know, would love to hear something in that transmission group WhatsApp from the engineering team. Would love to know what's happening. Don't know if our programs manager, the programs manager for radio, is listening. Kalisha, not sure. Are you listening? The general manager for electronic media services, Claire Grant. Good afternoon. Are you listening? Anybody else out there? Decision makers listening? Problems with Power 106 FM transmission? Please help. Thank you very much. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Friday to you and your listeners. There is something I don't quite understand. I don't know if you can help me. Why it is okay for only 70% of the population to be vaccinated? What happens to the other 30%? Are they at risk? Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. Well, we are going to speak with a very important public servant after this commercial break, and she is in the best position to answer that question. We could, but hey, why try to answer when you have an expert on standby? We'll wait on the expert to respond to that question after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Hey, you see, these days, it's good to get straight to the point. Quick and easy. That's why Western Union gives you another way to receive money straight to your bank account with Western Union's direct-to-bank money transfer. Visit a Western Union agent location and sign up now and tell your family and friends to send your next Western Union money transfer directly to your bank account in Jamaica. It's easy. Visit a Western Union location or call our call center at 876-926-2454. Sign up today to receive a money transfer directly to your bank account with ease with Western Union. Moving money for better.
I save because one day my little business is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and I make sure to put away a little something for my son. Better safe than sorry.
And thanks to JDIC, deposit insurance protection on my savings gone up.
You've been upgraded. Deposits held in commercial banks, building societies, and merchant banks are covered under the JDIC Deposit Insurance Scheme up to $1.2 million per depositor per institution.
The JDIC is big protection for every little thing that matters to me.
No, that's name real upgrade.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Tune into Farm Talk, 6:18 to 6:35 a.m. the first Tuesday of every month, and 6:18 to 6:45 p.m. the last Tuesday of every month for First and in the Field. Real issues, real solutions. Join the Newport First and team in the field as they identify problems and tell you how to address them. First and in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions is brought to you by Newport First and Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
I met another man who was wounded with hatred. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What do you do now, my brown-eyed son? What do you do now, my darling young one? I'm a going back out for the rain starts a falling. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where the people are many and their hands are all.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello to Murphy's Electrical and Plumbing. Good day to you, Sir Malcolm. Always a pleasure listening to your everyday efforts towards awareness and uplifting the energy of our everyday spirit of that of our country's interests. One love. One love to you too, Murphy's Electrical and Plumbing. Jasona JM says, good day from New Jersey. Be safe for the storm over the weekend. We'll do our best, Jasona JM. Jason Jones, same person it would appear, tell them to listen on YouTube and Facebook in reference to those having scratchy reception of Power 106 FM on their radios. And what a time to be having scratchy reception when we are about to be impacted by a storm. And Power 106 FM is well known for riding out storms in this country. That's part of our reputation, quite frankly. And if the people can't hear us in their moment of distress, then they will, that would just multiply the misery. Sharon Campbell says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Blessed Friday to you too, Sharon Campbell. Blessed Friday to you. Thank you very much. Beverline in Toronto, Canada says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Beverline. Faye Weller says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and your faithful listeners. God bless you all. Blessings to you too, Faye Weller. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. Good afternoon. Have a great weekend, everybody. He says, happy Sabbath to all Sabbath keepers when it comes, says Ricardo. Shout out to all the listeners across the world. And have a safe weekend, everyone, he says. He says, good afternoon, Mr. Derva. Well, he's saying it multiple times now. We get it, Ricardo. Thank you. Jennifer from Q Road in Kencott in East Central St. Andrew says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan. Blessing to you and your listeners. To you too, Jennifer, and to Mrs. Sybil Thompson. Good afternoon to Mrs. Sybil Thompson. Tony Thomas says, blessings, Sir D. Tony Thomas is in the UK, I believe. With so many things happening around the world, my main concern is for the doctors who work beyond their means will not be renewed, will not a renewed contract, for it's not good for Jamaica. All of that has been resolved or is being worked out, Tony Thomas. Take away the sensationalism and the reality is the matter is being resolved. First of all, we agree that whatever sums are outstanding to the doctors, as we said yesterday, those sums must be paid immediately. Let's pay. People have done their work. And in these tough times, in more ways than one, people need money. Get them their money. The doctors have worked long and hard for their money. Make sure they get the money. And that, for the most part, as we understand it, has been worked out and is being followed up on. The other matter is also being worked on. So our impression is that good sense is indeed prevailing in that matter. Tony Thomas, thank you very much for your message. Jacqueline Simmons, good afternoon and blessings to you too. Junior Jabari, welcome. Captain Dr. Rupert Francis says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan Malcolm. It's good to hear your voice with your vast area of knowledge, information, and inspiration. You're very kind, Captain Dr. Francis. Thank you for your message. Navlet Sue has some strong words for the engineers here within the RGR Gleaner Communications Group. And, well, who feels it knows it, and therefore she's expressing herself. Thank you for your message, Navlet Sue. Captain Dr. Francis says, I agree with you. We need to hear you all the time. Thank you very much, Captain Dr. Francis, for your message on WhatsApp. Let's go back to the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. And who is this now? Saying good afternoon, Barrett Trevor 6. Good afternoon to you too, Barrett Trevor 6. Thank you very much for tuning in, and all the very best. Mrs. Budai was asking us to. All right, we'll come back to Mrs. Budai. But let's go now to, and we did get a question from Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary, on the vaccination subject. And as we told him, we have an eminently qualified representative of the Ministry of Health and Wellness who would be joining us after the 2:30 break. And we're happy to report that the Director of Family Health Services within the Ministry of Health and Wellness, some people refer to her as the vaccine czar, Dr. Melody Ennis, good afternoon to you. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. I am well, thank you. How are you?
I am giving thanks for life. Good to hear your voice. Haven't seen you.
I wonder who you're talking about.
Having seen you in a well, I've seen you on TV and but not haven't seen you in a while actually.
I'm trying to stay in the shadows, but you're pulling me out.
Who knows? Maybe sooner than later, but no, we have a lot of work to do before that reunion. In the meantime, though, let's get straight to it. We're happy we have more vaccines in Jamaica now, and the plan for this weekend. Could you spell it out? Spell out who, first of all, who will benefit from this, or who should benefit from this weekend's vaccine blitz?
This weekend vaccine blitz is dedicated to persons who would have received the first dose of the vaccine in our blitz operation in April. So all of those persons are eligible to get the vaccine. We have enough. We're starting this weekend. Actually, we started today. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will extend into Monday and Tuesday, and we will continue to vaccinate until we have completed all of those persons who got their first dose in the blitz operation earlier this year.
All right, just before we move on, I need you to get a little closer. You're sounding distant, and we need to hear every word. So if you could get a little closer.
Okay.
Much better. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. What do they need to know? Can they just turn up because they have their record to show that they got their first dose? Can they just turn up with that?
Well, we don't want persons to turn up just like that.
Oh.
Because you know that we have to control and manage the crowd.
Yes.
So we are operating in the COVID times, and we have to maintain that distance.
True.
And keep everyone safe. So we're asking persons to make an appointment, please go to our website, www.moh.gov.jm, and make your appointment. You will get a text advising you of the time, the place, and of course the date, because it may be tomorrow or Sunday into Monday. And we are asking that once you've made that appointment and you keep as much as you can to that time that you're asked to turn up, that will certainly prevent the long wait and it will keep you safe.
Can you give us an idea of the locations in general terms? Because we know that Kingston is not Jamaica.
No, it's not. So let us go out in the west.
Yes.
We are looking at the Sav Health Center, the Grange Hill Health Center in Westmoreland, St. James, Mount Carey, Tide 5, Catherine Hall. Out in Hanover, we're looking at Lucy Health Center. Did I leave anywhere out? What's happening in Trelawney, Warstop, wait a bit. We have all of those centers that will be open. If we go over into St. Elizabeth, we're looking at Independence Park and Junction Health Center. In Clarendon, we will be at Kellett and the Denby Primary School. Let me run over to the northeast, not leaving anybody out. Port Antonio, this is the Anglican Church Hall in Port Antonio will be open. The Ocherias Health Center over in St. Anne. So that's just a snippet of the areas. And you did say we know about Kingston.
Yeah, the National Arena. Yes.
And the Mona Aging and Wellness Center. And also the University Hospital. Those are actually open today with the exception of the arena that will get on its way at 4 p.m. So we're doing an afternoon session at the arena today.
Roughly, or as you remember it, about how many people have already received the first dose?
It's over 100 and about 70,000 persons would have received the first dose, and about 80 plus thousand would have received the second dose.
Right. And how many are you looking now to bring up to speed to make sure that they get their second dose? How many of those are still out there?
Outstanding in the southeast region, which would be what? Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, St. Catherine. We're looking at about just under 14,000 in that area.
That's not so bad. I thought it was more than that.
About 10,000 in the southern region, and out in the west, let's do northeast first.
Hold on, I'll allow you to come back to that spread in just a moment. Our guest, listeners, is Dr. Melody Ennis, Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We're talking vaccines and vaccinations.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Ennis. You were about to continue, just giving us an idea of the number of people who are yet to receive their second dose, and sort of giving us some of those numbers by regions.
Yes.
So I think
we were at the northeast, and
yes,
we have just about 3,000 persons that's outstanding in the northeast, and we have just maybe about under 5,000 in the western region. So, we're looking at about 35,000 persons to be inoculated.
All right. And as you have said, you have more than enough vaccines to accommodate those who are on your list who are supposed to be vaccinated during this blitz, right?
We do, and we want to reassure persons that there needs to be no rush on the site. And, we have to be careful this weekend because we are anticipating some rain. We are proceeding, but if it is that it's going to be unsafe for anyone, especially our elderly persons who are coming out, please stay at home. We will reschedule. If you can make it and it's safe, please do come out. But safety is a priority at this time.
But naturally, because of the nature of your work as a team, you would have a plan or plans according to the conditions on any given day, right?
Indeed, we do. What I was speaking to is persons being transported to.
Yeah.
If there is any challenge with that,
Right.
getting to the site, we don't want them to risk it. But we have been making preparations, especially in areas that we would have convened our sessions outside using tents. So we're looking at how we can secure sites for persons to remain dry.
And it would be advisable for persons to walk with their umbrellas, right? Or other sort of protection from the rain.
So I have been asking your raincoat and your umbrella, yes. That, of course, is in addition to your government ID or a letter from the JT, your TRN number. And, of course, you're going to have your mask on. It might get wet, so you may have to carry another one in your pocket. And your immunization card, as well as your ID that you're carrying. You know how we are. Put it in a plastic bag so it won't be wet.
Right. There was a question before. It's almost as if, and we didn't announce that you would have been on before, but one of our regular listeners, Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary, his message says on WhatsApp, "Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Friday to you and your listeners. There's something I don't quite understand. I don't know if you can help me. Why is it okay for only 70% of the population to be vaccinated? What happened to the other 30%? Are they at risk?"
Okay, so 70% is the minimum requirement to achieve what we call herd immunity. And once we have herd immunity, then the chance of spread and causing severe illness by the virus is much less. We would want more persons to be vaccinated. In our routine vaccination program, our target is actually 95 to 100%. So for children, for example, we vaccinate at birth with BCG and we want full 100%. That's our target. But once we have herd immunity, then it lessens the chance that persons will become ill. It prevents the spread. And of course, if we have less spread, we have a smaller chance of variants coming up. So that really is the minimum number, and we do anticipate going over that, but we have to meet that minimum standard.
Another of our regular listeners, Tevin, is online. Tevin, is your question vaccination related? Good afternoon. Hello? Tevin? Is your question, good afternoon, is your question vaccination related? All right. Yes. Try again, Tevin. The line is bad. All right, let's get in a couple of other questions. Someone wants to know what when they get the second dose, does that mean hip hip hooray? They no longer have to wear masks and do physical distancing and all these things because they would have received both doses?
Absolutely not. So remember, I just said that we have to get to this magic number of 70% of the population being vaccinated to have herd immunity and prevent spread and illness. So you are protected, and remember, you only get full protection 14 days after you've received your second dose. But you will be prevented from being severely ill, being hospitalized, and possibly dying. But your neighbor have not received the vaccine as yet, and you can still transmit the disease. And therefore, we are begging persons that although you are vaccinated, we want you to maintain those protocols, wearing the masks properly, covering the nose and mouth, hand sanitizing, hand washing, physical distancing. And the sooner we get all persons vaccinated, is the quicker we'll be able to review those protocols.
Do you have a general idea, Dr. Ennis, as to the demographics of those who are in need of the second dose, those who are supposed to get their second dose?
Yes, yes, we do. And that is how I could give you the numbers in each parish.
Oh.
So we would have vaccinated at our various sites. So we do have a record of persons' addresses and what is close to them. And we also have assigned our sites based on that. You always ask for blitz and the blitz operations, but be mindful that we continue to vaccinate at our smaller health centers. So, for example, today, Harborview Health Center is vaccinating out in the east. Maxfield Park is vaccinating, Duhaney Park. So we do have our smaller centers that we don't speak a lot about, but those, of course, will reach the population that, won't have to come very far.
I see. Now, earlier on, you mentioned that you don't want people to just turn up. Yes, they might have had their first dose and they're entitled to their second dose now, but you don't want them to just turn up. You have given the website www.moh.gov.jm. What about those maybe senior citizens? Maybe they're not so functional. But they can at least pick up a phone and make a call. Do they have that option as well?
Yes, they do. And remember our 888 One Love number. You can call. We have had a few reports, it's overwhelmed today. And we do expect that because of the volume of persons that are trying to get in. But we ask you to just persist, be patient. You can call the 888 One Love. You can also call your nearest health department, and advice will be given on to you.
Is it too early for you to give us a peek into the next stage once you would have completed this weekend blitz, all things being equal?
All things being equal, I do think we may have another blitz next week just to mop up all the persons who would not, and, having the thoughts of getting some rain, it may not be as we had planned. So we will be going into next week and possibly even the following week to vaccinate. We have to, at the end of this operation, crunch the numbers and look at when we can begin administering first dose as well. And we are anticipating other vaccines, other types of vaccines in the country. And we do have to make plans for those.
Yeah. Speaking of making plans, how from where you sit, and I don't expect chapter and verse, but in general terms, how optimistic are you with respect to there not being any further breaks in the vaccination exercise for want of vaccines?
We seem to have passed the worst. That's what I want to say. I think we have passed the worst.
Yes.
It appears as if we certainly will be on track for getting vaccines in tranches on a regular basis. So we won't have to slow down. We didn't really have a break in transmission. We just had a slowing, but we certainly don't want that slowing because it leads to a lot of apprehension, tension, anxiety, and we can do without that.
No, that's a good point you made. You said it wasn't a break, which you're correct. It wasn't a break. It was a slowing down, which is good. It means that in spite of whatever glitches or hitches a couple of weeks ago or so, you still managed to continue the process of vaccination.
We did, and we want to thank persons who were so understanding and followed our rules, those most vulnerable in the population. We want to thank them and, of course, thank their relatives and all others who understood and supported the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
For the vaccination centers that are open now, that would have opened about 4 o'clock. Oh, are supposed to open at 4. Sorry.
No. It's only the arena opening at 4. All the others would have opened at 8 o'clock this morning, and they're yes, they're full speed ahead and looking to wrap up at 4 o'clock.
So arena will kick in at 4.
At 4, yes, arena will kick in at 4. Mm-hmm.
Right. So listeners, we're listen up. We're speaking with Dr. Melody Ennis, Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and she has been giving us the very latest on the the country's vaccination exercise. So vaccines have been administered and have since this morning. And but for the national arena, that exercise will not start until 4 o'clock. That's just a shade, just a little over an hour's time. And remember that you're going to need, what will they need to take again? Well, first of all, before they even turn up, they need to make an appointment, correct?
Please just go on our website, www.moh.gov.jm, make your appointment. Yes.
Right. And if they are not so au fait with the online platforms, etc., they can always pick up the phone and call 888-1-LOVE, which is 888-663-5683, correct?
Correct.
And once again, just for emphasis, what should they take with them? Because we don't want people to just turn up even after having made the appointment, and then when they reach, they go, I left. Yes.
Right. So you must walk with your ID because we just have to verify who you are. It's a government issued ID that we would like to see. If you don't have that, you would have had from the first incident, you would have had your letter from your Justice of the Peace. We're asking you to also take along your TRN number if you're not using your driver's license as the identification card. We're also asking you to ensure that you wear your mask and you try as best as possible once you're in the space to assist us in just maintaining the distance.
All right, hold it right there just a moment, Dr. Ennis. O'Shane is online. O'Shane, good afternoon. Do you have a vaccine-related question?
Good afternoon. Yes, Dervan.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Dervan, I received my message yesterday that I due my second dose, and I'm trying to set an appointment online as to what the Miss Ennis is saying. But after I put in my number, they are saying that I will get a code will send to my phone. Up to now, I can't get that code. And when I dial the 8881 number, I've been holding for 47 minutes. The last time I tried was this morning. I have screenshot of the 47 minutes. So I don't set any appointment. So I don't know what to do.
Dr. Ennis?
Okay, so I know that the phone lines are a bit overwhelmed, so I do understand that. I will most certainly speak to the persons who are in charge of our electronic system.
Sorry, one moment, please, Dr. Ennis and O'Shane. Hang on a moment, please.
The Time by Medical Disposables and Supplies Limited, an official distributor of 3M Healthcare Solutions, 83 Hagley Park Road, Kingston 10, is 3 p.m.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a Justice of the Peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Your taxes hold the key.
Nobody come in line. Pay your taxes online.
So many options. You choose. Pay online at jamaicatax.gov.jm, TAJ mobile app, direct funds transfer, and NCB online banking.
It's safe, convenient, and secure.
Tax Administration Jamaica, changing the way we do business.
I saw 10,000 fakers whose tongues were all broken. I I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard way.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Our guest is Dr. Melody Ennis. She's the Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and she has been filling us in on the details for the vaccination process for second doses. And O'Shane raised a question before we had to take the break. I think you, Dr. Ennis, you started to respond, but in summary, what would you suggest that O'Shane do now, having experienced what he has experienced?
I am going to ask O'Shane to make contact with his nearest health department so that they can organize for him to get his vaccine. And I will also commit to making contact with our home care system personnel to address any issue that is happening with the sending out of the one-time
notification
that you need.
Right. One second. So you heard that, O'Shane?
Yeah, yes, Dervan. So, will the Good Samaritan, that's where I get my first dose, will the Good Samaritan opening throughout the blitz?
Dr. Ennis?
It's not open this weekend, sir, but it certainly will be open next week. So if you don't catch it tomorrow or Sunday, you have next week to get, and the Good Samaritan will indeed be open next week.
Got that, O'Shane?
I don't get the last part.
All right, please repeat, Dr. Ennis.
Yes, so Good Samaritan will be open next week. It's not opening this weekend, but it will be open next week.
Oh, so we have to go to different places to get my dose this week then?
If you want to be captured in the blitz, yes. But if not, you can hang on until next week to go back to your favorite site.
Got that, O'Shane?
Yes, yes.
All right. Thanks for the call. All the best. Take care. Dr. Ennis, I know we might very well be trespassing on your time, but quickly, another question from one of our regular listeners who goes by the moniker Driver in America. He says, good afternoon, Brother Dervan. Please ask Dr. Ennis if the Ministry of Health is working on any programs to further acculturize the population with the need to get vaccinated against COVID-19. And he cites the 3% of the population being vaccinated, fully vaccinated so far. And he feels that does not bode well for the target of 70% being accomplished anytime soon.
So, two things. We are cognizant of the fact that there is vaccine hesitancy, and we are trying to address that issue by certainly getting to the root cause of why persons are hesitant, and then direct targeted interventions to provide persons with credible information so that they can understand the importance of being vaccinated. But the other challenge, why we also have such a small number of persons vaccinated, is the fact that we have a supply challenge. The demand indeed across the world is great for vaccines, and we are in line to get. We have had some delays. So I don't think at this time we have maxed out the persons in Jamaica who are willing to take the vaccine. I think there are many more persons willing, but it may not be up to 70%. And we will be working assiduously with certainly our PR experts and the media to assist us in reaching persons who are hesitant.
I see. And as we wrap, because as I said, I well understand that you are very busy and in demand. We don't want to monopolize your time.
You have my ear at this time.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What a pleasure. Right. So now the other thing has to do with the we've heard in recent times of the possibility of a mix depending on how this blitz goes, this effort to ensure that most, if not all, those due their second dose actually benefit from this blitz. In the event that not all are able to, and let's say by the time I don't know, maybe within another week or two or whenever, uh, there are those who still would not have received that second dose. If by then we have a new type of vaccine, a vaccine other than AstraZeneca, would the ministry be a part of any attempt to mix the vaccines? We have heard that the Pfizer works well with AstraZeneca, for example, but the others are still uh, hanging, so to speak.
So we are not quite there yet, and we have to understand that what we're hearing are small studies that are being done. I think Canada is leading the way, and their numbers are very small. I think they looked at only about 800 persons, where they noted the possible increased benefits with mixing. But again, it's not widely studied as yet. And remember, we also take counsel from the World Health Organization and their strategic advisory group that, gives us guidance. And at this time, that's not the recommendation. And the manufacturers of the vaccines have, well, up to the 16th of June, my last interim guidelines stated that they were not advocating for the mixing of vaccines as yet. But we continue to follow the evidence. And if indeed that is what happens and it can benefit the population and we are so guided, then it will be a consideration.
And what about the readiness of the Ministry of Health and Wellness to effectively deal with any possible predicted or projected spikes during this summertime when people want to loosen up and go here and go there, and with the adjustments to the COVID-19 protocols? How do you have a thought on that, or can you say the extent to which the Ministry of Health and Wellness is preparing for all those possibilities?
Well, we are constantly in preparation mode, and we have been speaking to the nation. We have been saying that with freedom comes discipline and responsibility. And we certainly want persons to adhere. They understand the health system, they know the deficits and the challenges. But having said all of that, we are making our plans. We are looking at our isolation facilities. We are looking at staffing. Most persons will be on vacation in the summer months because we too need a break.
Oh, absolutely.
We are looking at all of that because we know that there is a possibility that there may be a spike. But, I just want to say I have every confidence in my people that we're going to be doing the right thing, and we should not see any significant increase that would put us at harm.
And what about that's thanks for that assurance. So what about those listening who are saying, well, we can't test for the Delta virus in Jamaica, much less Delta plus. So how do we know that most virulent strain is not already here?
Well, we have also put things in place. So we are not only sending our samples for testing to CARFA anymore, we are sending to Brazil. We are also sending to CDC. So
That's the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. So we understand that we need to know if it is here, again, to guide our intervention. So we have widened that network so that we will be able to get a handle on if we do have the variant. So we are ensuring that we keep our fingers on the pulse. So samples have been sent to those areas and we are awaiting results, of course, in addition to our tried and proven friend over at Tarma.
Yes. And the other element has to do with there's a hope, and I'm sure and a plan. No doubt there's a plan as well, to get back to face school or in September. And I'm just wondering what that would look like. It's the same. We'll just have to continue. The children will just have to continue following the protocols in terms, and the teachers as well, wearing masks, physical distancing, frequent washing or sanitizing of the hands.
And of course, it has to be individualized to each school. They'll have to look at class sizes and how to separate desks and, how to have rotation, how to have cleaning in between classes, etc. So I know the Ministry of Education is really, really working hard. Our schools have been inspected by health. A lot of them have received the green light. Others in the amber zone, they know exactly what they need to come up to scratch. And I think we're making every effort to be fully prepared. Our teachers, remember, our teachers were included to be vaccinated, and we have vaccinated. My last check was somewhere about 8,000, 8,500 of our teachers. We had focused primarily on those with students doing exit exams to get them protected for June, July. But as we move into September, we are anticipating vaccine doses in August, and I think we will go on a campaign to get more teachers vaccinated and as many persons as possible, so that reality of face-to-face will happen.
Great. We can't thank you enough for your time. One moment, please. Another break, and then perhaps we will free you up after this next segment, because by then it would have been 1 hour, and we appreciate the time. But after the break, if you could give us an idea, the fact that we now have the hurricane season mixing with this pandemic and all that comes with the pandemic. Want your thoughts and your understanding of how this period is to be managed in terms of the various teams, Ministry of Health, ODPEM, etc., and just making sure that we're still cognizant and practicing all we need to practice in terms of the protocols, notwithstanding the onset of the hurricane season. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
It's gonna fall. Who did you meet, my brown-eyed son?
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and the story this afternoon is all about vaccines and vaccination. And we can't thank enough Dr. Melody Ennis, the Director of Family Health Services, for spending now almost an hour with us on this subject, recognizing, of course, that this is crucial, this is critical to how we go forward. And we thank you, Dr. Ennis, for spending some more time with us. Thank you.
It is indeed my pleasure. I want to also thank you because you are assisting greatly in spreading the word, alerting persons, just making them aware of how we are trying to keep Jamaicans safe.
Right. So let's just touch on, since we're keeping an eye out on this system. There's a tropical storm watch and a tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch in effect for Jamaica as Hurricane Elsa, we're told, batters the Eastern Caribbean while racing westward. So, first of all, a reminder, perhaps for those just joining us, since we touched on this earlier on, as to what those of us who will be getting our second doses this weekend, starting, it has started going into this weekend, which is clearly going to be impacted by wet weather, at least. Remind our listeners, please, who heard you the first time earlier this afternoon, and inform those who perhaps are just joining us in terms of the preparations and whether on their part, on both on their part and yours as a team at the Ministry of Health, to ensure that as long as there is nothing really significant to prevent people from going out and turning up at the sites, that you would still have in place the systems, the mechanisms, and that will ensure that as they say, the show goes on.
So, as a priority, it's safety. So we are not strangers to the hurricane and the hurricane season. Yeah. We know the things to do. We have to protect self. We have to protect property. So once we are not in danger of anything happening to self or property, we are proceeding with our vaccination blitz. We have to all take personal responsibility. So if in your area it is a hazard, don't come out. We will reschedule. For us on the Ministry of Health and Wellness side, we are making all preparations to be able to accommodate persons in this with the weather conditions as that has been stated. We also want to remind persons that the umbrella, the raincoat, please dig them up, find them, because we may need them tomorrow and into Sunday. We also know that we must protect property. So simple things. We are asking for identification card. Work with it in a plastic bag. Leaving home, we're not sure what's going to happen before we get back. Ensure that home is secure, home is safe. So, as I said, we are not strangers to the hurricane. We know the preparations to make. We know what to do. It is just for us to remember that in addition to that, we have COVID. COVID is still with us, and we have to maintain those protocols. The rain is going to wet the mask, going to wet our face. So we need to have an extra mask or two, because once it is soiled, the advice is for us to change same. So we need to know all of those things and make the necessary plans, because again, safety is what we are advocating for.
That's right. And now, in the case, let's say, God forbid, the impact is such that people have to be directed to or assisted to shelters, for example. What's your understanding of I know this is not necessarily specific to your area, but based on your experience working with the team within the Ministry of Health and Wellness and your partner agencies in a time such as this, what are the general protocols for operating in a shelter, for example?
We would have started our preparations a long time ago, because June 1 was when we went public, as we do every year.
And so we gather that as of next year, it will be as of the 1st of May. The season will start on the 1st of May.
Can you imagine what climate change is doing to us?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's for another time.
Yes.
We would have started our preparations long before. We would have had our shelters and shelter inspections. The shelters would take on a slightly different flavor this year, because we have to have distance being maintained within same. So in collaboration with ODSEM and our disaster coordinators in the field, We certainly did our shelter inspections and we have passed those that are certified good. They got the green light and persons can indeed go. You again, it's the importance of personal responsibility when you're going into these spaces, what you need to carry, how you need to secure property and maintaining distance once you arrive. And of course, when you're leaving home behind, as much as possible, leave it as safe as you can. Walk with the bare minimum, you know those things in a plastic bag. You must also take along with you your medication. If you have your bottled water, we are advising that you take that along with you as well. So it's those things. And your personal hygiene matters. We know we are asking persons in this hurricane season, once we have any sort of rain, you have to be careful of water and that the water is purified. It's potable water that we're drinking. We know how to mix and make water clean for use. So it's all of those things, and we're just reinforcing those and reminding persons that on top of the hurricane season, we have COVID-19.
Right. Well put. And a couple of things now before we wrap. One, there's is it the expectation and universally understood among health professionals, public health professionals, scientists, etc., that notwithstanding the impact on that COVID-19 has when it gets into our system, that some of us will develop in an organic way a level of immunity. Is that universally accepted, that apart from or in addition to the vaccine, that there are those of us who would develop some level of immunity to this deadly virus?
Yes. So there is natural immunity. If we get infected and survive, then we should develop immunity to the system. Some persons are severely immunocompromised and will not mount that proper response. But the majority of us will develop some immunity. The challenge we have, though, is that what is becoming very apparent is that natural immunity does not last for very long.
Oh.
That is the challenge. So the studies continue, but it's looking as if, and you would have seen that persons would have had the disease earlier on into last year and they got better and they were grateful, they overcame, yes. And then they got the disease again. That is because natural immunity waned. So, yes, we get it, but for how long it lasts, that's where the challenge is.
So the next point now would be then for those of us who get vaccinated, fully vaccinated, how long is that likely to last?
And that we also don't know because we are waiting on time and the studies continue. And you would have heard that there are some indication. I think a couple of studies were done in Italy and maybe China. Yes, China and Italy looked at the length of artificial immunity. And they were saying that we may possibly need to get this vaccine on an annual basis.
Like the flu shot.
Absolutely. And we know that it is a respiratory infection, so it's not far-fetched that it may be so. We also know the difficulty it is with making vaccines for viruses that infect the respiratory tract. So it's a possibility. We heard Pfizer a month or so ago speaking to the possibility of a booster shot and an annual shot. The other manufacturers have not so said, and we continue to follow the evidence, but persons should not be tremendously surprised if at the end of the day that's the course we'll be taking. But for now, let's just work with the present, and it is to get vaccinated, get protected in the here and now.
Any evidence of the impact of the vaccine on, let's say, this Delta variant, for example? Any idea? Any studies? If even a little young, so to speak, in terms of the development of the
Yes.
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 What do we know at this stage in that regard?
So what we know is that the Delta variant is more transmissible. It's easier to pass from you to me and to everybody. But what seems to not be affected is severity of disease. And it is severity of disease that the vaccine targeted. So the recommendation is that in spite of the presence of the Delta variant at this time, the vaccines are still working for severe disease. But transmissibility now is the problem.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you have this increased transmissibility, then you have the potential for more variants to come up. And that is the big challenge that we're facing.
Right. And finally, it does it matter if what's the likelihood of those who receive the first dose of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine being reinfected before getting the second dose?
Well, it may not be reinfected. It may just be infected. Yes, that can happen. And the recommendation is once you are well, so once you have recovered from the disease, if you were asymptomatic, it would be your quarantine period. Once you are well, if you got sick and you are now well, you will be eligible for your second dose.
Great. So we just have a minute to the break, just under a minute. Want to give you the opportunity of to choose of all the things you could say to Jamaica and Jamaicans and everybody else listening to us right now. What would you like to leave us with?
I would like to leave us with make every effort this weekend to stay safe. And once that is our priority, please do come out. If you are eligible for your second dose, please follow our instructions, go onto our website, make your appointment, do come out and get vaccinated. And to everybody, please, let us stay safe, follow the rules, so that we'll all be safe next week.
Well said. Thank you very much, Dr. Ennis. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending all this time with us here on both sides of the story. We wish you and the team all the best as you continue to play your part in protecting us in this time of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you so very much. It was indeed my pleasure.
Same here. Take care. Dr. Melody Ennis, Director of Family Health Services at the Ministry of Health and Wellness. It's another vaccine blitz weekend, but remember, only those who need now to get the second dose, only those who need to get the second dose are going to be a part of this weekend's experience. But you must make the appointment. You cannot just turn up at a vaccination center.
You contribute directly to Jamaica's national development when you pay your customs duties. Let's all do our part in keeping the wheels of our economy turning. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
Motorists, is your front end loose? Save time and money. Use the Bajik injector system. Bajik rebuilds worn ball joints, rack ends, stabilize the links, drag links, control arms, and more. Same-day service available. Bajik Jamaica, 1C Grove Road, Kingston, 929-3622.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888 663 5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
What did you see, my darling young one? Saw a newborn baby with wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a blood ranch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 takers whose tongues were all broken. And sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's so hard, it's so hard.
With us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. And we're seeing some information here from the American Friends of Jamaica. Don't hesitate. Vaccinate. COVID-19 vaccine second doses. Hopewell Sports Complex, July 6, 2021, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Anyone due to get the second dose will be vaccinated. Bring ID and vaccination card. So this is the American Friends of Jamaica, which is made up of former U.S. ambassadors to Jamaica. Now, how many countries? I don't know. I'll maybe need to check it. How many countries in the world have a group of former ambassadors to their country, forming a group, and that group contributing long after these ambassadors would have been recalled, or I beg your pardon, put another way, would have reached the end of their tour of duty. Long after that, they are still giving back to Jamaica. And that is the story of the American Friends of Jamaica. So Mr. Tapia, whose tenure ended, whose tour of duty ended some months ago, is, well, time flies, maybe more than a few months ago. But he is now a member of the American Friends of Jamaica, AFJ. So even though he's no longer here as the American ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Jamaica, he is busy working with the other former ambassadors to help in the development of Jamaica. And so the American Friends of Jamaica, AFJ, is announcing second dose COVID-19 vaccine distribution in the parish of Hanover, Tuesday, July 6th. And that will be at the Hopewell Sports Complex from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's the information. Right, just seeing some information as well coming from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in reference to a bill to implement the convention abolishing the requirement of legalization for foreign public documents. And also a statement on the ship rider arrangement. This is a message from Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, on the implementation of the agreement between the government of the United States and the government of Jamaica concerning cooperation in suppressing illicit maritime drug trafficking. So that's another of the stories coming out of today's sitting of the Senate. And so the story is the Foreign Affairs Minister says, I wish to advise that Jamaican officials from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and National Security, the Attorney General's Chambers, the Jamaica Defense Force, and the Director of Public Prosecutions met again with senior U.S. officials on the 24th of March this year. Following further exchanges, both sides agreed on changes, keyword, changes to the operational protocols necessary to improve the functioning of the agreement. These new procedures, keyword new, these new procedures became effective as of the 16th of June, 2021. And so that there, you may recall a level of controversy with respect to those fisher folk, those fishermen and their alleged treatment by U.S. officials or U.S. authorities, and so on and so forth. And that was really not good for relations between Jamaica and the United States in that regard, especially under this ship rider agreement. And so clearly changes have been made. And I was just trying to drill down to the specifics. With the finalization of the operational protocols, both parties stand to benefit from improvement in the sharing of critical information and in the process of interception, keyword, interception of vessels suspected of being involved in drug-related criminal activities at sea. The protocols also allow the government of Jamaica to achieve its goals of strengthening the fight against illicit drug-related activities, while at the same time protecting, here's a critical part, while at the same time protecting the interests of Jamaican citizens who may be intercepted at sea pursuant to the agreement. Now, whatever we as Jamaicans do or fail to do at sea and are intercepted by U.S. authorities in keeping with the Shiprider Agreement, it must be made clear that our Jamaican citizens must be, the interests of our Jamaican citizens must be protected. And the press release goes on. Well, those were my words just now. But in terms of the press release, it goes on to say, it is hoped that with these improved procedures, the challenges experienced in the recent cases, the recent cases will not be repeated. Let's see how that goes. So those are a couple of press releases that just popped up in our mailbox, and we decided to share with you, our faithful listeners and viewers at home and abroad. Now, there have been some queries, and we're going to respond to your queries. There's a query from, who was asking a question? Who was it? There was a message. Is it Lee? Lee in London, who was asking. Yeah, Lee in London says, Dervan, hey, hi Dervan, good afternoon, sir, and the rest of beautiful Jamaica family. How close is the storm to Jamaica? That's what Lee wants to know. And there's a related question from Jason Jones, who is in New Jersey. He's asking, how are the preparations going there for this storm? Well, we know by now how to prepare for a storm. We'd like to think that we do. And therefore, the usual preparations are in place. Not usual because of COVID-19. These preparations must take into account the presence of COVID-19 in our midst. here in Jamaica. So those we do have the teams. In fact, before Elsa became a hurricane, there were tours of different shelters across the country and checks to make sure, and the shelter managers being briefed or being involved in briefings, etc., etc. So let's answer the question. Here's the 2 o'clock release from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. And don't be put off when you hear Meteorological Service of Jamaica. Just think weather people, the weather people, the weather forecasters, the weather people, the people who have the experience and expertise and knowledge to tell us what's happening with the weather. So the National Meteorological Service has issued bulletin number 6. Now, you know when it gets to bulletin stage, this is serious business, right? Bulletin number 6, tropical storm warning and hurricane watch remain in effect for Jamaica. Here's the information. A tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch are still in effect for Jamaica as a stronger Hurricane Elsa batters the eastern Caribbean while racing westward. Tropical storm conditions, including possible sustained wind speeds of 34 to 63 knots or 63 to 118 kilometers per hour, are expected to affect Jamaica, while hurricane conditions also pose a possible threat to the island in 36 hours or less. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, the center of Hurricane Elsa was located near latitude 13.7 degrees north, longitude 62.5 degrees west, or about 1,540 kilometers or 960 miles east-southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. So those who are asking how close, Lee in London wanted to know, how close is the storm to Jamaica? The report is that at 1 o'clock this afternoon, the center of Hurricane Elsa was located near latitude 13.7 degrees north, longitude 62.5 degrees west. That's about 1,540 kilometers east-southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. And if you can't manage kilometers, let's give it to you in miles. That's about 960 miles east-southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. So the center of hurricane, well, we just told you where the center is. But in relation to Jamaica, it is Hurricane Elsa is 960 miles east-southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. Hurricane Elsa, 960 miles east-southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
One in. When there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, riverbank or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Choose Smart Stop Auto Supplies for service and front-end parts for Toyota, Nissan, Honda, and Suzuki-made cars. We also sell batteries and tints and specialize in radiator and radiator parts. We source hard-to-get parts by special order. Smart Stop Auto Supplies, Shop 4, Dr. Rock Plaza, Santa Cruz at 876-966 2869. Make the smart stop.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Win big this summer. Enter the Gleaner Star Luxurious Escape Competition. Win the grand prize of 2 weekends for two at an all-inclusive hotel plus $25,000 in groceries, weekly cash prizes, and more. Buy a printed copy of the Gleaner Star. Enter the serial number at the front page by texting 876-322-7967 or online at gleanerluxury.com. Competition runs from June 6 to July 10, 2021. See the Gleaner and the Star for details. Your luxurious escape awaits.
Poison are flooding their waters, where the home in the valley meets the damp, dirty prison, where the executioner's face is always well hidden, where the hunger is ugly, where souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it and reflect it from the mountain so all souls can hear it. Then I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking. And I know my songs well before I start singing. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain is a falling.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Now, can I retrieve the information I was going through a short while ago? Oh, dear. Let's see. Let's see. How did that happen? Missed the information. That's what happens when you have so many different platforms open and then now trying to retrieve the info. Goodness. Oh dear. Here we go. Back on track. So now as we have said, Hurricane Elsa, as at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Hurricane Elsa was 960 miles southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. That's about 935 kilometers or 580 miles southeast of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Elsa is moving quickly towards the west-northwest near 46 kilometers or 29 miles per hour. And this general motion is expected to continue during the next couple of days. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 140 kilometers or 85 miles per hour with higher gusts, and little change in strength is forecast during the next 48 hours. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 35 kilometers or 25 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend as far as 220 kilometers or 140 miles from the center of the storm. On its current track, on this forecast track, the center of Hurricane Elsa will continue to move over the eastern Caribbean today and through the central Caribbean south of Hispaniola tomorrow, Saturday, before passing just east and north of Jamaica on Sunday morning. So on its forecast track, the center of Hurricane Elsa will continue to move over the eastern Caribbean today and through the central Caribbean south of Hispaniola tomorrow, before passing just east and north of Jamaica Sunday morning. Heavy, did you hear that? Heavy showers and thunderstorms, along with winds reaching tropical storm force, could begin to impact eastern sections of Jamaica as early as tomorrow night, Saturday night, tomorrow night. Heavy showers and thunderstorms, along with winds reaching tropical storm force, could begin to impact eastern sections of Jamaica as early as tomorrow night, Saturday night. Dangerous sea conditions associated with the hurricane are expected to spread across the Caribbean over the next 24 to 36 hours. Dangerous sea conditions associated with the hurricane are expected to spread across the Caribbean over the next 24 to 36 hours. Now, it's almost 4 o'clock, and the vaccine blitz at the national arena for people who have already received one dose or people who have already received the first dose. The blitz at the national arena will start in 6 minutes time. Now remember, you can't just turn up there. You have to make an appointment. You have to check in, so to speak. Consider it check-in, which is how people who travel these days, you check in online, right? So you have to check in before you check in. You have to check in online before you check in the line at the location. So you have to check in. So remember, it's the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website, www.moh.gov.jm. That's moh.gov.jm. Go there, make the appointment. This is only for those who have already received one dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It's time to go and get the second dose. But you first have to make an appointment. Now, if you know nothing about the computer and you can't be bothered with the computer, pick up the phone and call 888-1-LOVE. 888-1-LOVE. Now let's spell that out for you. That's 888-56. No, sorry, we're leaving out the one. Let's make sure we give you the information for those who can't manage the online component of scheduling an appointment for the COVID-19 second dose. It's 1-888-1-LOVE, as we said, which is 1-888-663-5683. 1-888-663-5683. 5683. Again, 888-663-5683. 1-888-663-5683. Those who already received the first dose, time for the second dose. This weekend is all about you. The Blitz is all about you at the National Independence Park Complex, National Arena. You're being asked to take along with you not just those who are going to the Blitz, but those going to the other sites. But again, the focus is on the group of people who have already received one dose. If you have already received the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, time to get the second dose. And I think it would have been those in April. Those in April initially who got the first dose. Those in April, it's your time now to get the second dose. The others who got their first dose subsequent to April, they would know when to get their second dose. So, but when you call, you can get this information, and when you go online, you can get this information. But remember to take along with you your vaccination card. Critical. Take along with you your vaccination card. Take along with you your TRN. Of course, if you have a driver's license, then naturally your TRN is the same number on your driver's license for the most part. I think by now that's the situation, eh? And just keep them safe. Store them in a plastic bag, so that in the event of rain, they are kept dry. And also, please take an umbrella with you. Take an umbrella or a raincoat with you. So it seems, as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, would be a good time, because as in relation to this system, which is Hurricane Elsa, we are not, we're expecting that on Sunday morning, it is appearing now. Sunday morning, Hurricane Elsa will pass just east and north of Jamaica on Sunday morning. At that time, we can expect heavy showers and thunderstorms. One moment, please.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Experience real Jamaican-style service when you fill up at Morant Bay Texaco Gas Station, Braham's Texaco Service, and Gale's Service Station. They remind all motorists to make sure windscreen wipers are clean and working. Also, check brake lights and windows. They also implore customers and other road users to stay accident-free.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Class is in session on Hits 92 FM and Power 106 FM. Join Hits 92 FM from Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Power 106 FM on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for class time. Fun, interactive, educational content for students from the early childhood to secondary level. We take you to school on a wide range of subjects, including language arts, literacy, mathematics, civics, religious education, and others, all from the comfort of your home. Class Time on Hits 92 FM and Power 106 FM is brought to you in partnership with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information.
Que hora es en espagnol? Son las 4:02. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:02. 现在地点了4:02分. 2 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Now, as much as we said going to the break that Hurricane Elsa will pass just east and north of Jamaica on Sunday morning, be on your guard, because the heavy showers and thunderstorms, along with winds reaching tropical storm force, as in tropical storm force winds, could begin to impact eastern sections of Jamaica as early as tomorrow night, Saturday night. So from all indications, for the most part, the rest of this afternoon, into this evening, into tonight, into all day Saturday, we should be able to get some things done within that period of time. But by the time we get to Saturday night, tomorrow night, heavy showers and thunderstorms, along with winds, which are likely to reach tropical storm force levels. So tropical storm force winds, heavy showers, thunderstorms could begin to impact eastern sections of Jamaica as early as Saturday night, tomorrow night. Now, dangerous sea conditions associated with the hurricane are expected to spread across the Caribbean over the next 24 to 36 hours. All small craft operators, including fishers from the Keys and Banks, should by now be in port and are urged to complete their necessary safety precautions without delay. As we say in Jamaican parlance, no lele, no lele. Or an older, an earlier generation would say, don't tarry, right? Get it together, get in and get back on land, on the mainland, and let's ride out this storm together. The Meteorological Service says it continues to monitor the progress of Hurricane Elsa, and all interests, all of us, must pay special attention to further information released by the National Meteorological Service. Aunt Pearl is calling us now on the WhatsApp line, which is the same as the text line. It's a straight call. Oops, call went. Well, please feel free to call back. So that's the bulletin which we've shared with you. Now, I saw a question on WhatsApp from, who was it? A question from Driver in America. He says, Brother Dervan, given the present available meteorological information, is there any likelihood of Elsa negatively affecting the deciding Game 5 of the T20 cricket series between us and South Africa tomorrow afternoon in Grenada? We're not quite sure. Let's see what's happening in Grenada. Let's tell you what's happening in Grenada right now, according to the news site Now Grenada. The National Water and Sewerage Authority, NAWASA, continues to monitor the path of Hurricane Elsa that is currently affecting Grenada and its dependencies. At present, the current weather condition has rendered water systems, namely Mirabeau, Mount Horn, and Plaisance in the parish of St. Andrew, Concord in the parish of St. John, Mount Reuil in St. Patrick, and Fountain St. Mark, challenged Concord in the parish of St. John, Mount Reuil in St. Patrick, and Fountain St. Mark are challenged due to turbidity and dam blockages, hindering the production of water. Period. It is important to note that other systems are also faced with the same reality, and supply will be interrupted without prior notice. The current flow makes it impossible for employees to traverse rivers to have dams unblocked. Rest assured that once the all clear is given, efforts will be made to have systems restored to facilitate distribution. Persons with limited supplies are again encouraged to safely capture rainwater for post-disaster use if necessary. NAWASA maintains its position that an island-wide shutdown is not necessary at this time. However, once the weather persists and the associated risks for infrastructure and staff, a decision can be made without prior notice. And the story goes on. It is therefore important for consumers to heed our calls for the availability of on-site storage representing 35 gallons of water per person. I've never heard it put this way before in Jamaica, where they tell us how much water per person we should try to have. So in Grenada, they're telling their citizens, NAWASA is telling their citizens, that's the organization, the agency in Grenada responsible for these matters, telling their citizens to heed their calls for the availability of on-site storage representing 35 gallons of water per person per day for a 3-day period at minimum. Storing 35 gallons of water per person per day for a 3-day period at minimum that will meet the needs of their family and pets. As the island, again, this is information coming out of Grenada, further to the question from Driver in America. As the island remains under a tropical storm watch, NAWASA's actions of maintaining and restoring water and sewerage services remain of vital importance to national post-disaster activities. NAWASA has already enacted its disaster emergency plan at measures to be undertaken for the protection of the authority's infrastructure. Persons with storage tanks are again encouraged to switch off the outlet of those tanks as late as conditions allow, so that the stored water would not be lost through leaks that may occur on a customer's property due to damaged plumbing during the passage of the storm. NAWASA thanks the general public, and so on and so forth, with the support of NADMA and the Meteorological Service, the Meteorological Office. The organization will continue to monitor the progress of Hurricane Elsa and provide an update as information becomes available. So that story out of Grenada. Let's see if we can find anything else coming out of Grenada with respect to Hurricane Elsa. Let's see. And we're being told that Hurricane Elsa could impact the condo collapse search efforts in Florida, at Surfside in Florida. Yeah. And let's see where Grenada falls in this report that we're pulling up right now. Again, further to the question from Driver in America. We're seeing some videos on Twitter as well, some dramatic photos. Let's see. I'm just trying to get to the piece of this story that touches on Grenada. Why are we not seeing that now? We're seeing other countries coming down the line. Coming down. All right, not seeing. So Grenada was mentioned somewhere here, but we're not retrieving that at the moment. But essentially, the Category 1 Hurricane Elsa has unleashed heavy rains and winds on Barbados and then moved on to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And they're already struggling to recover from those massive volcanic eruptions. It is true what they say, right? It never rains, but it pours. Or when it rains, it pours. Yeah. Right. Well, we'll keep checking, though, to see if there are any further updates out of Grenada. Let's see this one. Oh, this was from this morning. Here we go. Major flooding in Grenada as a result of Hurricane Elsa. So one way or another, Driver in America, there are likely to be implications for that fifth and final T20 international between West Indies and South Africa. For those who want to know, like Driver in America, let's see. All right, let's see. This one looks more updated. Is it this one? Trees, Hurricane Elsa. Yeah, let's go with this one. This one seems more current. Right, so major flooding in Grenada as a result of Hurricane Elsa. That is, this one seems to be the most current of them all. Well, we're seeing video. We're seeing a video now. Whoa. My God. Yeah. Tremendous amount of water carrying with it loads of debris. Yeah, that's a most dramatic video from newsroom in Grenada. Let's see the other story here. This one. Elsa, the first hurricane of the year in the Atlantic Basin, caused severe damage to homes and downed trees as it passed through the Caribbean territory of Barbados. It's approaching St. Vincent and the Grenadines with maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. Let's take the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:15. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:15. 现在几点了？4点15分. 15 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? All right, young people. I know. This is the last day. Last day of school, virtual and otherwise. And you're going into your summer holiday now. Although some of you will be a part of the various summer programs in place to help you to catch up. And that's important, young people, to help you to catch up. But having said that, trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also manage to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. Those of you sitting CAPE and CSEC exams, we hope you get the results that you work for. Nothing more, nothing less. And guess what? The fact that you have been and continue to navigate your way in this pandemic, in trying to keep your schooling going, and the fact that you're at a stage where you have confidently decided to go ahead. There are about 3,000 students, was it 3,000, who said they would wait until the next sitting. But for those of you who have, with a great deal of commitment and determination, to do all you could have done with the help of your school, your parents, guardians, and other well wishers, you have managed to get to this point where you are now sitting CSEC and CAPE exams. That is no mean feat. That is no. Those who would have sat exams last year and this year, you are extra special children, I have to say. Extra special with all that you have gone through and still able to sit these exams. We want to wish you well. We did tell you before the exams, or remind you, that proper preparation prevents poor performance. So it's the ball is squarely in your court right now. Over to you, young people. But we wish you all the best in your exams. And for the children, just remember, children in general, remember, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable. And the right attitude makes you successful. And even though school is out now, young people, apart from those who will have to participate in summer school, just to make sure you are able to catch up and make up for a lot of the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. They just remember, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. And even though technically speaking school will be out, remember, homework is always in, because homework is about preparation, and proper preparation prevents poor performance. And so let's see. All right, I think we're through checking up on Grenada for driver in America. Yeah, I think we're through with that for now, and we'll check back in with our information. Someone has messaged us on the Power 106 text line. Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I'm so disappointed with Mr. Gabriel with regard to the summer school. Suggested the students need some catching up because my daughter is a special needs child. I am her teacher since September. I hardly hear from the teacher sometimes. I have to call her one day. She called me that my daughter I go do test. Me tell her say. And a Mia, her teacher, she's not yet ready. I'm sorry, I was just trying to read. But seriously though, good, very good. Proud of you, mother. Well done. Good of you to take the schooling of your child into your own hands. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Well done. Now, with respect to Mr. Gabriel, from what I've heard, Mr. Gabriel is in sync with the decisions taken by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. That's what I've heard listening to him. There are perhaps one or two instances of just taking a different tact or suggesting situations where you say, well, maybe a little more or a little less, that kind of thing. But for the most part, from what we heard, Mr. Gabriel is in sync. Mr. Gabriel and the Jamaica Teachers Association, or Mr. Gabriel through the Jamaica Teachers Association, is in sync with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's decisions, right? So, Driver in America says, thanks, brethren. So, no Chris Gale cartwheels tomorrow. Take all the necessary precautions, Jamaica. Hurricane Elsa name, and she no respect nobody. All right, Driver in America. Thank you very much for your feedback in that regard. Let's go back to the phone lines. 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, and 876-922-4114. Oops, there's also 876-922-4115. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dervan, to you and your listeners.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, may the God of peace be your portion.
To you too.
Yes. Just keeping in touch. I've made some good strides on the project I'm working on.
Yes.
I just need to share a little with you. I did not recognize that our national hero, William Gordon, he was of Scottish born. His dad was a Scotsman.
No surprises there.
Yeah, man, it surprises me. I did not know,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm almost there with it. What is holding it back a little bit? I just need to find a gentleman. He gave me some stamps, 5 stamps, highlighting the sugar industry in the 20th century. And Dervan, I've been searching to find his name. I can't find his name at all, and I wouldn't like to really publish and don't honor his name, Could I use the program and ask for him?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. I don't remember his name, but he lives somewhere in Upper Waterloo Road. He used to work at the Bernalad Sugar Estate, and he's a stamp collector, and he's possibly used to work with the post office. The 5 stamp was, the first one was in 1901, honoring the sugar factory in the waterfalls in St. Anne, at that sugar factory there. And the last one was the FAO in somewhere about 1990. So I've used those 5 stamps as part of the the manuscript. So if at all he could make contact with me that I could honor his name, I'd leave my name with him. Or should I say my name?
It's up to you.
Yes, man. David Cosburn at yahoo.com. No, David Cosburn at gmail.com. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a million.
Sure, no problem.
One other little information I need some clarity with you on.
Spell Crosburn. Is it O-U-R-N or N-E? O-U-R-N-E?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. One other, I heard you said a couple of weeks ago, you were saying that in 16, it was 2 occasions the Frenchman attacked Jamaica.
I don't think it was 2. I don't think it was 2 different occasions. I think it was once.
Okay. Yeah, I have it as 1698.
Yes.
But I think I heard you was reading that 1694. So I'm wondering if he came in 1694.
Maybe was a development on or a connection. Usually there's always a connection. So maybe I was connecting a couple of dots and not necessarily an indication that there was another date.
Oh, okay. All All right, thanks. All right.
All right. Mm-hmm. That's it?
No, before I
Oh,
go,
sorry, go
there's
ahead.
one other one. There a recent what I found out on the gentleman from Cayman Islands, Mr. A. Hamilton.
Uh-huh.
I can't distinguish where if Ellis Cameras actually went right across over into Passage Port. All I'm searching to get the understanding, I can't pick up, But I know clearly from the main road back to the hills, that was Dawkins Cameras. But apparently, from what I'm gleaning, what I want to be sure is if Ellis Cameras actually went right back to Passageport. I'm not sure. And I'd want some clarification. So if anyone of your listeners could clarify that for me, I'd be thankful. And what I knew also that there was a toll road that ran from Passageport to Ferry. I have some data on that. So I have taken it that it would have been from Passageport to the present main road would be Ellis Caymanas, and then they later merged to become Caymanas. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm sure about the toll road, and they said the citizens of Spanish Town rose up against it, and they had was to remove the toll. That was an early toll. Or that document is stating also that the river had actually shifted. Where we know the river from Spanish Town, it was more closer to say the Perry police station, and then over time it shifted to where it is now. That demarcation where there.
Yeah, well, that entire area was quite swampy.
Yes.
And it was where the police station used to be an inn.
Yes.
It was called the Ferry Inn.
Yes.
And ferry there in reference to the fact that people would have to use the ferry to get across to that area. That whole area was quite swampy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. And finally, the Monument in Scotland. It's a huge place. It's almost 20 square miles. The monument, the estate. So if you Google it, you'll see Monument Estate in Scotland, and then they had a castle there.
I'll try and check it out. We're up on a break now.
Yes.
Is it that you had more to say, or you leave it there?
Just a little on the monument.
One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:29. ¿Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5h moins 29. Science, TDN le. Wu Dian Cha Er Shi Jiao Fen. 29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children, a good time to say hello to Carol in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. She says, Happy Friday from Calgary, Alberta. Happy Friday to you too, Carol. Sophia Nemard, good afternoon. Gabriel Immortal says, Good afternoon, Dervan. Hot and rainy Friday afternoon. Hope everyone stays safe and prepare as much as possible. Thank you, Gabriel. All the very best. Let's go back to the phone line. Yes, Mr. Crosby.
Yes, here, yes, Dervan. Concerning the Monmouth Estate in Scotland, there is a blanket, an embroidered blanket there that was made in Monmouth, at Monmouth in Jamaica. It's where the present Monmouth is, that's New Monmouth. On the compound, there's an area known as Perrins. Apparently, that was an estate by itself, the Perrins estate. So the blanket was made there. The embroidered blanket was made at Perrins and by slaves, and embroidered and with the date and everything. So it's at the Monmouth Castle in Scotland. That bit of information, I got it from the library in Maypen. However, the person who did the research did not put their name on it. It was a research paper they did. And this is one of the things that they just write a topic, research on Clarendon, and highlight about Monmouth and about Pennant in Clarendon. But they didn't put their name on it, unfortunately. It's at the library in Maypen, so unfortunate. So that's it, and I'll keep you apprised. I've made contact with a publisher over there as well, and I'm making good progress with it.
That's good news. Thank you for the update.
Yes, man, all the best, and keep.
You too.
Keep strong. Yeah. Good.
You too. Take care.
Yeah.
This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. So a couple of reminders. The vaccination blitz has started, happening at the National Arena. Started at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Again, a reminder that it's for those who have already received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. So this is your second dose now. And you'll need to go online to moh.gov.jm or by calling 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. 888-663-5683. And those two platforms will take you to the Ministry of Health and Wellness's site, and or in the case of the phone call, that would be their call center that you'd be getting through to make an appointment. If you just turn up, you're going to be wasting your time. You need to make an appointment, and when you have done so, please remember to take with you your vaccination card, your TRN, and a government-issued identification. So if that government-issued identification is your driver's license, then you don't need to take your TRN. That's because it's the same number on the TRN, same number on the driver's license. And be sure to, if you don't have an ID, then a letter from a JP, a Justice of the Peace, would be good enough. And whatever documents you're taking, just keep them in, store them in a plastic bag so they don't get wet, and walk with your umbrella or your raincoat or whatever other protective apparatus you have to shield from the rain. That's right. So that's a reminder there. And the other reminder in relation to the weather, and you'll get another weather report at 5 o'clock this afternoon, news time. We will hear the latest. But the last one we got, which came in at 2 o'clock this afternoon, bulletin number 6. And if you missed that and are just tuning in, you should know that a tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch are still in effect for Jamaica, as a stronger Hurricane Elsa batters the eastern Caribbean while racing westward. Tropical storm conditions, including possible sustained wind speeds of 34 to 63 knots or 63 to 118 kilometers per hour, are expected to affect Jamaica, while hurricane conditions also pose a possible threat to Jamaica in 36 hours or less. In 36 hours or less. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, the center of Hurricane Elsa was located near latitude 13.7 degrees north, longitude 62.5 degrees west, or about 1,540 kilometers or 960 miles east-southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica. This is also about 935 kilometers or 580 miles east-southeast of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Elsa is moving quickly towards, which means by the time we hear the report at 5 o'clock, Elsa would have moved. Elsa is moving quickly to, which is not a bad thing either, as I understand it. What you don't want, I think the slow movement, as I remember it, would serve especially over warm waters, and we know the heat that has been abounding. And with that, so if it's the warm waters will serve to fuel Elsa, will cause Elsa will boost Elsa. But if Elsa is moving fast, then that has implications that I want to say positive implications from what I remember from these things. So anyway, Elsa is moving quickly towards the west-northwest near 46 kilometers per hour. That's about 29 miles per hour. And that general motion is expected to continue during the next couple of days. The maximum sustained winds have increased to near 140 kilometers or 85 miles per hour with higher gusts, and little change in strength is forecast during the next 48 hours. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 35 kilometers or 25 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend as far as 220 kilometers or 140 miles from the center. On its forecast track, the center of Hurricane Elsa will continue to move over the eastern Caribbean today and through the central Caribbean south of Hispaniola on Saturday, before passing just east and north of Jamaica on Sunday morning. However, hold on before you start thinking, oh, we're not going to feel anything until Sunday morning. Hold on. Heavy showers and thunderstorms, along with tropical storm force winds, could begin to impact eastern sections of Jamaica as early as tomorrow night, Saturday night. Dangerous sea conditions associated with the hurricane are expected to spread across the Caribbean over the next 24 to 36 hours. All small craft operators, including fishers from the Keys and Banks, should by now be in port and are urged to complete their necessary safety precautions without delay. The Meteorological Service will continue to keep us abreast of these developments. Stay tuned to Power 106 FM and you won't miss a beat. What time is it? Time for us to respond to a message from, well, we didn't get a name, that's fine. But the person who asked us for the quotation, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. That's a combination of myself, Robert Gregory, and Dr. Leakim Samaj. So if you have to use that quotation, the credit lies at the feet of Malcolm Gregory and Samaj. Malcolm Gregory Samaj for that quotation. Socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Right, let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Carol in Calgary, Alberta, Canada says, please prepare, be safe during this hurricane season. And that's not why I chuckled. I chuckled because her next message was, we rebuke you, Elsa. We rebuke you, Elsa. And Win Charmful says, I hope Elsa is also afraid of crime. I hope Elsa is also afraid of crime. Errol in Maryland says, good afternoon, Sir D. Just watching Elsa delaying the West Indies women's match, was watching them now. Oh, so it's already impacting. Oh, why? Yeah, the ladies. How could we forget the ladies that they're playing today? They won the first match, and so they made 125 for 6 before rain stopped play or delayed play, and the Pakistani women are 103 for 6. They need 23 runs from 12 balls. That's just a shade under 2 runs per ball. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. The following is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to advise that all persons who are due their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine can now make an appointment by visiting the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace to the vaccination site to receive their second dose. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness thanks the public for their cooperation.
Whenever you hear the following tone, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, will be giving information on an emergency situation affecting the island. Please be on the alert and listen to your radio and television for further information. This was a test of the emergency alert system, brought to you by ODPEM.
Sipa copper.
Sipa copper?
Yes, sipa copper.
Sipa copper what?
Sipa copper Ital Jamaican Moringa tea bags. Sipa copper Moringa, turmeric, vervine, neem, and guinea hen wheat tea bags today. Sipa copper tea is available in supermarkets island-wide. So sipa copper today, you'll be happy you did.
Distributed by Caramed Group Limited.
What did you see, my darling young one? Saw a newborn baby with wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a black branch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 takers who
Que hora es en espagnol? Son las 5 menos 13. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5 heures moins 13. 现在地点了5点加13分. 13 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Let's continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Here's a more specific story in relation to West Indies versus South Africa, the deciding fifth and final T20 match scheduled for Grenada tomorrow. And with the threat of Hurricane Elsa, there are concerns as to whether the match will go on. Just generally, let's hear what the story says from Creek Buzz. Desperados don't only feature in cowboy movies. 22 of them will line up in Grenada on Saturday to fight it out in the deciding match of a T20 series. Of their 8 rubbers in this format, let's just jump all of that and get to the part where it speaks about the weather. Let's see. Here we go. There's a lot to like about the prospect of this duel between desperados. But a dark cloud hangs over the match. Many dark clouds, actually. And high winds and lashing rain. Hurricane Elsa has moved into the region like a boss, blotting the sun out of the Caribbean sky and drenching the earth below. Despite forecasts for rain throughout the series, there's been minimal disruption. But Elsa is a threat of a wholly different magnitude. Even so, word from Grenada is that a game looks more probable than possible. A game looks more probable than possible. Well. Let's see. We just have to wait and see. The question here is, will Elsa allow answers to be had? At least we know that question will be settled. Saturday, the 3rd of July. That's tomorrow, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Grenada time. 1 o'clock, Jamaica time. And we'll see. We'll see what is possible tomorrow. We'll see. In the meantime, just before we go, we have to leave you with some nuggets of history. How about that? Some nuggets of history. Michel de Notre Dame, popularly known as Nostradamus, predicted that he would die on this day in 1566. And he did. He did die on this day in 1566. Now, for those of us who like to think through these things, It is possible to die on the day that you predict you will die. Especially if that prediction, let's say, takes place within a particular period of time. Well, that's all I'll say on that score. But anyway, for what it's worth, the history tells us that Michel de Notre Dame, popularly known as Nostradamus, predicted that he would die on this day in 1566, and he did. Well, let's read on. Nostradamus was born December 14, 1503 at Saint-Remy, Provence, in France. We know him as Nostradamus, author of 10 books of prophecies titled Centuries that many still believe foretold the future. He was a physician, an astrologer, and a clairvoyant, as in one who professed to have been able to see into the future. That's what clairvoyant means. Clairvoyant. Well, because it's French, we say voyant as opposed to the anglicization of the word, which would make it clairvoyant. But it's actually clairvoyant in French. But if you're speaking English, it's all right if you say clairvoyant. Clairvoyant. Nostradamus's famous astrological predictions were written in rhyming quatrains, 4-line poems. A quatrain is a 4-line poem. And according to many readers of our time, accurately predicted the Great Fire of London in 1666. So these are some of Nostradamus's predictions. The Great Fire of London, apart from that of his own death, his own demise. The Great London Fire in 1666. Spain's Civil War, and a Hitler who would lead Germany into war. Acclaimed today as one of the most accurate seers, S-E-E-R-S, seers in the history of the world, he wrote in code since in his day, if he was found out, he would have been considered a sorcerer and would probably have been burned at the stake. He used symbolism, metaphors, and added and deleted letters to make his writings even more obscure. Most were written in French, oui, en français, although Nostradamus, an educated man, would also use Italian, Greek, and Latin. What if something got lost in the translation? Since none of us really knows, nor do we know what his code was, nor which calendar Nostradamus was using. We can only try to make events fit into the 942 quatrains. That's a lot of history and a lot of destiny to prove. Is it fact or fancy? Physician, astrologer, and clairvoyant Nostradamus died on this day in 1566, a death that he himself predicted. The famous philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau died on this day in 1778. He was born June 28, 1712. His mother died shortly after his birth. And when Rousseau was 10 years old, his father was exiled and left Geneva, leaving Rousseau behind. Rousseau's writings are said to have been a significant factor in the rise of socialism, nationalism, romanticism, totalitarianism, and anti-rationalism, as well as having paved the way for the French Revolution and contributed substantially to modern ideals of democracy and equality. Jean-Jacques Rousseau is credited with having had a major influence on educational theory. It has been contended that the theory that human beings are almost exclusively the product of their environment and therefore completely malleable is derived from Jean-Jacques Rousseau's writings. Rousseau minimized the importance of book learning in a child's education, recommended that a child's emotions should be educated before his reason, and emphasized the importance of a child's learning through experience. Incidentally, Jean-Jacques Rousseau was an early advocate of the advantages of breastfeeding. But dominating them all is a passionate desire for equality and an equally passionate feeling that the existing structure of society is unbearably unjust. Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. The words there of philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Andrew Robinson says, good afternoon, my friend. Well, my birthday is July 4th. I'm in Florida celebrating my birthday, and it's the big day up here in America. Jamaican born down a yard. Well, happy 4th of July weekend to you, Andrew Robinson in Florida, although usually in Atlanta. Happy 4th of July birthday to you, and happy 4th of July birthday to the great United States of America. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. For today, Errol is telling us that Italy just beat Belgium 2-1 in Euro 2021. Well done to the Italians. Yes, so thank you very much for being a part of today's edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns Monday afternoon, 2 to 5. However, if you can afford to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to listen to the Jamaican diaspora live online, we'd be glad. But if you're not, no sweat. If you couldn't care less, you want to enjoy your weekend sleep, forget listening to us tomorrow morning, 6 to 9. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm on behalf of Program Assistant Adrian Reed, wishing everybody a safe, peaceful, and enjoyable weekend.
And think it and speak it and breathe it. And rain so hard souls can hear it. Ocean until I start sinking. Know my songs well before I start singing. It's a hard, 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 it's a hard rain, it's a falling.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Friday, July 2, 2021. Jamaica under tropical storm warning and hurricane watch as Hurricane Elsa moves across the eastern Caribbean. Government prepared to enforce mandatory evacuation orders for residents in flood-prone areas. 2 killed and 3 others injured in central Kingston violence. Murder tally passes the 700 mark. In business news, tourist arrivals continue to climb. The discussion segment of Beyond the Headlines with Dion Jackson Miller comes up after this newscast.